Hello, hi everybody.
Hi, Julio.
I was just apologizing to everybody for my ridiculous mistake. But you guys are so great at adapting. So, okay, so here we go. Let's kick it off. So we're announcing our project basically. And after this whole thing, all of us have been behind the quarantine for about 40, 50 days or something. And thought long and hard about this and decided that we were actually blessed and very lucky to have a record that's ready to go. And there's no reason why we shouldn't move ahead with it. And there's some stuff that still needed to be done and we're doing. And that we can in fact do remotely. And we've done it many times remotely because Julio's in Lima, Christian's in Lima, I'm here. So this is not anything new to us. So I thought, you know what, yeah. And I thought we need to do this and we need to put out this album as soon as possible and turn it into a way for us to remember this period in time, because there's been a lot of reflection about it. And I'm thinking to myself that this is the kind of thing that even, you know, a couple years down the line, certainly 3 or 4 or 5 years down the line, it'll just remain one of those points in time that everybody recalls and sort of thinks of as something that happened. And the things that happened during that time will certainly impact all of us. So with that in mind, we decided that this album is going to be called Social Distancing. Distanciamiento social in Spanish and social distancing in English, and just kind of go for it. And I've been thinking about different ways that the music reflects that, and you know, names of things can come before or after, and in this case some of them are coming after, and it's a very powerful thing. So what I want to do first is share with you what Christian after I kept him up for several nights, he came up with an incredible concept to put this all together, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it in a second. I emailed you guys an image, but in case you didn't see it, Christian, do you mind putting up the
Sure.
the visuals for the new project? And we went with black and white as an idea for this. Yep. And the record going to be called Social Distancing, Distanciamiento Social in Spanish. And you see there on the cover all these drawings of people's faces, right? And this is obviously contrary to social distancing. And we've been discussing about what that will look like, you know, on the back of the album, on the inside of the album, and just how big to make the actual foldouts. Are we going to do a vinyl? You know, these sorts of questions. But here's where you all come in. This is the first piece of news that I want to tell you. And what we're going to do is reach out to you for a picture of yourself, like a shot of your face, maybe down to here, right? And we're going to ask you to email your pictures to us. And what we'd like to do for this record is have the illustrator take your pictures, turn them into drawings like the ones you see here, and then insert you, as many of you as possible, into the artwork of the record, because we want to have a feeling of community, you know. And you'll see in tonight's session, I'm going to ask you for a lot of pieces of intel, if you will. And this is the first of them, is that we'll roll out a convocatoria, a call for those who want to be on this album, to send us a little picture of yourself that illustrator will turn into this type of image here that you see here. So instead of, you know, this lady here in the middle, you know, this might be you, or it might be, you know, your husband, whoever. And that's kind of the idea behind the graphics for this. It's in trying to involve community as much as possible. So that's the idea as far as the cover artwork and kind of involving as many people as we possibly can. And we talked about, you know, what happens if there's too many pictures. There really isn't too many pictures because we can always work around to the back and also on the inside and also on fold outs. So we really just want to get as many people of the Afro-Peruvian jazz community involved in this. This is just an example of what the cover might look like. So I hope you think that's pretty cool. I'm really proud of it. I think Christian did a terrific job. And I think black and white really kind of brings a lot of things into perspective for this. So we'll go back to Zoom here. And now what I'd like to do is talk about one of the tunes and play a little bit of it, share with you, you know, the sound, and then explain kind of where we're coming from on this. And the first piece on that is COVID-19. Tell me in the chat if that is like way too shocking, which it is initially. It's like, but COVID-19 is one of those things where I think right now it's like, woo, right in your face. But in some time, that might be one of those, you know, things. And this piece of music, to me, is appropriate for that kind of titling because of the way it was composed. So I'm going to show you that now, take you through that a little bit, and then we can listen to it so you can get an idea of you know what it sounds like after I show you how it works. It doesn't matter, by the way, if you don't read music for this. If you read music, great, but that's not why I'm putting this on there. First of all, I hope you realize when you look at this music that it kind of looks like COVID, not the actual round, you know, round molecule, but it's just that it's very, very busy and angular and so forth. The compositional technique I used for this doesn't come from Afro-Peruvian music. It doesn't even come from jazz. It comes from a type of music that was developed by a guy called Arnold Schoenberg and one of his students, Anton Webern. And it's in the classical music world, but it's 20th century technique where they decided that music wouldn't have a harmonic center. So when we think of music normally, when we listen to music, it has notes that are more important than others that create tension and release. So that's all of Western music. In this type of music, what those composers did is they made rules that were mathematical in nature so that notes would not have priority over others, and therefore you wouldn't have consonants ever. And the way you do that is you take a scale that exists in all Western music, which is a 12-note scale called a chromatic scale. It's every single note in our music. That's every note that we have, 12 notes. We have 12 notes in all of Western music. And then what we do is we put them in different orders, on top, on the bottom. We create chords. That's called a tonic. That's like music to your ears. It lands in a place. Well, in this period in the 20th century, these composers said, we're not going to ever do that. There's never going to be a center of gravity, and all the notes are going to be equal. And they actually called it the emancipation of dissonance. And the way they do this is by setting up a rule for the music where you can't repeat any of the 12 notes until you've played all of the notes. So I'll say that again. So you can't repeat any note until you play all 12 notes in the scale. And only then can you repeat a note, right? So the end result of that, if you play any music like that, "12 notes that are not in any order and they don't have any priority one over the other, so you don't feel like there's a center of gravity," right? Now, if you look at the first line of this, those of you who read and those of you who don't, you listen, these are the notes. COVID-19. I'll play it again. Those are 12 notes. If you count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the 12 notes of the chromatic scale of all Western music, one after the other without any repetition, right? Then where it says letter A, you have the main melody of the song, and it does the same thing. I'm not going to play it in rhythm. I'm going to play the notes. The 12 notes are the challenge with this music was how in the world can I take this compositional concept, which is called atonality, and it doesn't allow for the usual feel good vibe of my band, right? We're a very tonal band. We like to groove and we like people to know what we're doing. And here's this weird harmonic concept. So to me, those challenges are always fascinating because it's like, well, goody, I gotta solve this really interesting puzzle of how do we get this to groove and sound like it's our music, even though we're using this compositional technique. So when you put rhythm to it, it's a slightly different story, right? And so then you can start thinking about, what the groove's going to be and all that. So rhythm is always our savior, right? And so the 12-tone experience here is going to be that music. And when thinking about this particular project, this really came to mind for me as kind of visualizing, mentalizing, and feeling the way this whole COVID thing is making me, and I think a lot of people feel, which is very tense, And what I'd like to do now is listen to it. Here's soon to be called COVID-19, potentially. Here we go. that's soon to be hopefully called COVID-19. I started making a list for myself over the last 40, 50 days. And if you can do it in the chat right now, what I want to know is, and we're recording this, so we'll get all this on the chat recorded. Can you all put some words in to the chat right now that are associated for you with this whole pandemic? So words like COVID-19, words like lower the curve or whatever, these terms. If you can think of any, can you type them into the chat for me? Pandemonium, isolation, vaccine but not heard, essential, right? At home, stop the spread, save lives. Quarantine, right? Stay at home. Disruption, breath, death, loss, tears. Essential worker, self-isolate with music. Heroism, right? And from the news, there's words in the news too that keep getting used over and over, right? Mission critical. 6 feet away. Thank you. Yeah, right. Ice trucks, health over wealth. First and best responders, heroes, social distance. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Connect through technology. I'm thinking to flatten the curve, cover your face, trust the experts, intubate, reopen. That's been a big one lately. Stay home, face mask, listen to scientific facts, collapse, believe in science, lonely goodbye, cover your face, stay safe, healthy, and economically viable, testing, wash your hands for the length of 2 happy birthdays, invisible death, wow, homeschooling, yeah, right, I know all about that, incompetence, parent teachers, yep, 20 seconds, work from home, global, 6 feet, yep, wash your hands, yep, dry cough, yeah. Yeah, so this is great. This is such a wealth of vocabulary. So what we're trying to do is find the different things that'll make them their way into the song titles. Zoom, yeah, right. Zoom, yeah. Essentially, yeah, non-essential. The age on coronavirus, yep. Economic collapse, moisture breathing, food lines, sanitation, paycheck support, stimulus, government check. Let me challenge you with, is there anything positive that we can come up with? Because not the music, our music is not, this piece I played for you now is, poignant and maybe even dark, but a lot of our music is not, right? Between teachers and students, relationships first, fresh air, no cars, right? Clean house, community love. Yeah, thank you. So this is the positive ones. We choose our reactions, survivors, project completed home. And some of you put before heroes. I saw that. Opportunity to collaborate and connect through technology. Silver lining learning. Ooh, silver lining learning. Teachers are gold. Honeydew list. Commitment. Persistence, right? Family, right? Homeschooling discoveries. Family together. Rise up. Yep. Reconnecting with friends and family. Neighbors. Everyone at home. Yeah. Being very happy right now. Common enemy. 2 meter matters. Off the streets. More practice time. Yeah, musician talking. Environmental improvement. Clean air and water. Right. So yeah, so these words, right? We're going to take all these words. Blue skies, that's right. Restoration of nature. Home concert. Yeah, one of these days. Time to reflect. Right on. So yeah, we're going to take this and run with it as far as the other tunes and the and wording and things that we can incorporate to start to tie it tie it all together. So thank you. That's amazing. That's very, very useful. Before we do another thing that I want to ask you about, would you guys, can you just tell me in the chat, would you guys like to listen to another track? Okay, you guys are all saying, yeah. This thing is like going, okay, yes, please, sure, go for it. What are the options? Well, we can listen to the track, or we can go to the next kind of thing that I wanted to discuss with you and open it up a little bit. But I think we can do both.
No se vayan a asustar con estos rabos y cuernos que son solo para bailar. Todos los años salimos cuando llegue el carnaval y asustamos a la gente con nuestro baile infernal. Yo soy el diablo mayor y me llaman Don Vité por esta bemba que tengo tan grande, mírela usted. Son de los diablos son, y aquí vamos a bailar. Y el mentado cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. ¡Diablo!
Yeah, so when Huevito does guapeos, that's usually when you hear like esto, toma. But when he's actually speaking the words, those aren't guapeos. Those are the lyrics to the song, to the original song. Now, if we listen to the original song, it'll crack you up, and I think it's worth doing right now. Because if you just, I won't talk too much. If you just remember what you just heard, you know, that darkness, like boom, boom, dum, ding, dong, all that darkness. Yeah, and it is, yeah, Frank, you're right. That whole crescendo, right? Fighting to stay alive, that whole COVID-19 thing, you're saying it there in the chat. Exactly. So I think it's worthwhile to sort of explore where, just for your own, like, just so you can see how, you know, words and lyrics and whatever expressions are that we have upon us. If I can get YouTube to collaborate, I'm going to try to
Venimos de los infiernos, no se vayan a asustar. Venimos de los infiernos, no se vayan a asustar. Con nuestros ramos y cuernos que son solo para bailar. Con nuestros ramos y cuernos que son solo para bailar. Son de los diablos, son, de aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. Son de los diablos, son, de aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar.
Bullanga carnavalera de los putacos resuena en las calles del Salitral. Gritan los negritos, se asustan los macacos y chilla la fiesta negra del carnaval.
Yo soy el diablo mayor y me llaman Don Mister. Yo soy el diablo mayor y me llaman Don Mister. Por esta bemba que tengo tan grande, mírenla usted. Por esta bemba que tengo tan grande, mírenla usted. Son de los diablos, son, de aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. Son de los diablos, son, de aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. Años salimos cuando llega el carnaval. Todos los años salimos cuando llega el carnaval. Y asustamos a la gente con nuestro baile infernal. Y asustamos a la gente con nuestro baile infernal. Son de los diablos, son, y aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. Son de los diablos, son, y aquí vamos a bailar. Y el métalo cachafaz, la quijada va a tocar. Son de los diablos, son de los diablos, son de los diablos, son, y aquí vamos a bailar. Son de los diablos, son de los diablos, son de los diablos, son, y aquí vamos a bailar.
An entirely different kind of sound and everything like that. This in major, it's happy, it's bouncy, and it's all about the devils, and they're dancing on this parade route, and it's just an entirely different thing. So we did something, you know, different with that, and that gives you kind of a background of that whole procedure, you know. So yeah, like what I'd like to do now, before everyone, you know, before we have to go and so forth, is I did want to get some more feedback from you guys, and if you want to chime in, we'll hit the allowed to talk on just a little bit of a conversation about what we're going to do in the next year and a half, because essentially we're moving into a period of time that's going to be very much what I'm calling it like a musical recession, in terms of just the availability of live concertizing, because even when things get reinitiated, it's not going to reinitiate live concertizing as we know it very quickly. So we have to be thinking about these other ways of making sure that our music and our cause keeps moving forward. So I'm curious if you could in the chat, now, could you share with me some of the just this is in general, this is not specific to music, but like some of the stuff that you guys watch like online on a regular basis, you that are music lovers and fans of the music, and you know, what kind of subscriptions do you have? What do you listen to? Like, I mean, we all do Netflix, right? Things like that. If you can type it into the chat, like just what kinds of stuff you're sort of into, you know, what subscriptions do you have? Like at this point in time, where are you getting your nutrition, your artistic nutrition from? Okay, so you're listening. Alan says live concerts, mostly solos, right? People are doing a lot of that, mostly solos. Free movies from Xfinity, documentaries about many different things. Okay, so we're learning about some stuff, Frank. Rolf, do you subscribe to any percussion sites or anything? Like, where are you getting your percussion from? If that's what you appreciate the most. You know, are you already getting that? Are you watching some stuff for it, or tutorials or something? Like musical friends sharing together online? That's cool. John, you watch a lot of old movies that you've never seen before. Singers doing low-key home concerts. Okay. So, and are you getting enough out of the home concerts? You know, somebody like John, or a lot of you probably are catching those home concerts and those Facebook Lives and different things like that. I guess it doesn't replace, you know, actually going to a live show. But what could make those better, or what could make those more amazing? You know, like if you're spending some time online like this. Spotify and YouTube Music for streaming. Yep, Noah. Live party concerts with other family in other states. Okay, what does that look like, Frank? What's a live party concert?
That's an excellent idea that came from my sister-in-law in Pennsylvania. We're in South Carolina, and there's just a couple of people with a guitar. And they sit by a fire pit in Pennsylvania. They invite us to this watch party, and while we're doing something in the house, we can listen to the music, and the people are playing a variety of music, not the same style. And the thing is that it's not just one family members. A large number of family members have joined in on this watch party once a week, and now we're watching. We can wait for it at 6 o'clock. Everybody tunes in. This lady plays the guitar, the music, and we're all relaxing, doing whatever it is that we're doing at each other's house. I was working in the garage building something, listening to the music, while someone else is in their house with their kids, and they're all chiming in and chatting at the same time, making comments like we're doing here.
Cool, but somebody's playing the music live.
Yeah, it's live music, and you can hear them, and they're interacting with the people as well. And if a car goes by, because it's in the country, backyard with a road near them, and people go by and they wave at them, and people honk the horn, and we know that it's live. It's happening at the same time that we're doing whatever it is that we're doing.
Right. Cool, Frank. Thank you. That's amazing. That's very inspirational. Hey, John, I know you do this so much. John, do you mind coming on? Because what have you experienced with those that have a sensitivity to the medium? Like, I'm curious about that. What does that look like? Like, what's the difference between the performance?
Can you hear me now? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, you're on.
I don't. Well, I don't know if I can. It's kind of like some people are good on camera and some people aren't. Like someone on stage who's a great stage actor is not necessarily a great film actor. Or you could have a very great recording artist who just doesn't have the live concert thing that works. Probably the singers or instrumentalists. Some of them are classical. It helps if it's a single person or just a couple of people, I think.
For sure, right? Yeah.
Like you guys, for example, I think have a real challenge where you to try to do what 6 people remotely from 6 different.
Oh yeah. We've been working. Well, as you know, working on that for.
It's sort of contrary to your whole sensibility. You might do it well, I imagine.
No, yeah, we've been working on it. Like, in fact, we started working on it when Christian flew up here, and when we did go uptown, and we started working on the whole, because we always wanted to do this, like not even knowing that there was going to be COVID.
So it's just that sort of mysterious. Some singers get the microphone, others don't. It's a mysterious thing.
Right. So John, so do you ever feel like, because I know you very well, obviously more than I know, a lot of people, but for you, when you're watching online, do you find yourself sort of like grunting at the technological thing, or are you sort of like, well, I'm going to suspend my disbelief and just kind of work with it? Like, where are you in that?
No, if it works, it works. I'm not sitting there going, well, I'm gonna cut some slack and do some mental adjustment. I don't find I do that. I find either it works or it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'll go on, and it's just clear that maybe someone hasn't figured it out, even though it might be someone I otherwise like, and someone else, they get it. And when I say get it, I don't mean some intellectual process. I mean, it might be, but it feels
like how to make it. And if I can ask one last question, man, I want to hear what Gail has to say, because she's been like having like ukulele things and stuff. So would you say that? Gosh, what am I trying to say? When it works, like you said, it either works or it doesn't work. Like, when it works, what are those factors? Is it a communication thing that's happening?
There is a communication thing that's happening. And again, I'm usually looking at singers or solo instrumentalists or duos, and they are aware that there is someone on the other side of that camera lens.
Right.
So, for example, a singer knows how to look at you through the lens, even though he's looking at the singers, hundreds of different people. Right. Or and then there's something equivalent in how the instrument transmits through the audio. It's an illusion, and you get it in the live concert too. You think they're just playing that, that Laura Andre is just playing that sax for me, or that whoever is singing is just singing to me. It's like an actor in a play doing a soliloquy, and it seems to be spoken just to you. And it's kind of someone who just has that sensibility. Jazz artists, they're talking a lot to each other, as well as to the audience collectively. And so I think it's perhaps, I can imagine it being a challenge.
Right. Well, like I'm thinking Laura Andrea, she always plays with her eyes closed.
She does, doesn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time she plays kind of with her eyes closed.
Yeah. And I haven't seen. She. By the way, it's not like I've seen her. She hasn't been sneaking in solo performances. I know.
No, I wish you would.
I think it'd be great. But
I wish you would. I wish I could talk her into it. She would be amazing. As a solo.
But that wouldn't be. I mean, I'd love to hear some of you guys. I mean, I'd hear to, just do.
Right.
Like hear your horn for a while, just by itself,
Right. And then there's a couple comments here that this is great, because I'm going to jump on this. Alan says that the best thing he's seen since COVID, the Shook Twins yesterday broadcast from their childhood home, and they performed, answered audience questions, toured the house, toured the chicken coop, and sang their chicken song. It was fantastic. That's amazing. So So maybe there's a little bit of value that can be, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to get out of this is figure out a way to not just be thinking like, well, we need to replace this, oh, bummer, you know, now we can't do all these live concerts the way we used to or whatever. Or what Rolf was saying a minute ago, if they open up shows, but now they're saying the venue has to be 50% capacity, well, that's a drag. You know, it's a drag because, you know, you're limited in all kinds of ways, including having people. But I'm thinking, like, can we create something that will give added value? This chicken coop thing is fantastic because you would never get that at I think that's why it's so exciting, right? Like the Shook Twins, if they did a concert in a venue, they would never be able to take you into the chicken coop, and much less do their chicken song in the chicken coop. So I'm imagining that that's some kind of like specific value to this online, and those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about a little bit. You know, like what can you guys think of for us? You know, what would be like something like that? That would be like, ooh, I'd love to see that, and I could never see that when I see you guys just in a regular concert. And also, there's people around the country that only get to see us when we're on tour. So we've had this in our minds for a long time before the COVID thing, but now it's even more, you know, pressing. Gail, can I unmute you? Thanks, John.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we with the ukulele community, I mean, and it's widespread. It's Europe to, you know, Hawaii, all the way around to Japan and back. We've been doing, well, not we, but a lot of people have been doing like mini concerts, workshops. So you're getting, like, if you go to a workshop, you're getting all this input, way overwhelming. This way it's done, you can watch it again because it's recorded. Again, I think someone you were speaking with there mentioned, it feels like they're just talking to you, like you're having a private little intimate moment when there's probably hundreds and hundreds of other people on, but it feels like it's just you, and that you can ask questions, you can raise your hand.
You know what, Gail, John said that, and you just said it, and what I just realized that it's actually, there actually aren't hundreds of people on. Because right now it's just me and you. So the fact that there's hundreds of people on is completely irrelevant. Yeah. Because there aren't there. Like, I can't see hundreds of people.
Right.
There's no way. I cannot see hundreds of people. Even right now there's only like, whatever, 20, 30 of y'all, and I can't, you know, I can barely see, you know, whoever we pop on the screen. So, okay, cool. I'm gonna get that.
I don't think we're trying to replace, but we're developing new and really unique and creative ways to share music. And in some ways, to me, it's even better.
Yeah. That's what we're going for. Like, what are these angles? Let's see. Tom Grant in Portland plays every Wednesday, and he tells a story about the music and the musicians he played with. We're going to collaborate on a book of the anecdotes. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So, John, it's time to write that book, man. I think it's time to
Okay.
So let's see, who else is on here that can I just like bother to call on somebody? Oh, Rolf has his hand up. Wow. Go ahead, Rolf. Nice picture.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Great. As another level of personification or personalization, you might say, I don't know what the technical requirements would be regarding bandwidth. However, the ability to hopefully have individual video cameras on each of the individual performers and allow us as audience members to either mix or select the ones we want to focus on so much. In other words, me as a percussionist, I would love to switch between Huveto and whoever on the drum set. Somebody else might be a saxophone or a trumpet aficionado and want to focus more on that than just the whole group. And if the bandwidth and the ability to do the tech can be accomplished, that adds another level of personal satisfaction to different viewers.
Right, and you can't do that. I mean, in a live concert in a small setting, you can do that, but certainly, yeah, Christian, we should study that. Just see if like that is a thing that can be done somehow. We
Ideally,
got
yeah.
we got pretty into when we were planning this online concert that we're still planning, and we got into the whole experimentation phase. We got to sort of multi-camera shooting and the software that makes that all happen, and at the time we sort of got stuck on the only accessible way to kind of do it was through like a Facebook kind of situation, which has evolved, and now there's other ways to do it too. But I haven't heard of what you're talking about, but that would be amazing.
Well, we'd still need to be able to see multiple cameras so we can see the whole group and make sure we hear the mix,
Right.
yet allow us to focus in on one area or one particular instrument, even temporarily. Yet the idea is,
because even in Zoom, you know, if I log in to this call on my phone right now, you would have another camera angle. But these types of softwares are not made for music, so you are unable to capture it and transmit it through a software like this in the way that you know that you might think was possible. These softwares were built for talking. So
right, and if you can find software that does that allows us to still hear it well enough, then it's still a limitation of our own speakers as well. So there's trade-offs.
right.
If the alternative is not being able to see any live concerts that you guys perform, I'll put up and I'll tolerate a certain amount of difficulty, even though, as I said in another comment, what I found when I create videos is people are much less tolerant of audio quality problems than they are video quality. As a hint to hopefully be helpful.
Right. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Noah, you are up, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Noah.
How's it going, Gabriel?
Good. By the way, all of you that are talking right now all have Tour Peru in common, even though some of you are patiently now waiting an additional year.
Very good.
That's so amazingly cool. Some have already been, others haven't been yet, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. That should be good. I've been patiently waiting. I mean, it's been like, I think I've been wanting to come for like 4 years now, so.
Well, no, you've been waiting for many years. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
what are your thoughts?
I'm just working hard. I'm the one who said I'm practicing in my free time right now.
Right.
And right now I'm actually diving into Daniel Sussinger's research project and learning some Afro-Peruvian rhythms on the drum set.
Nice. Yeah, his stuff is amazing, and he's very thorough and everything that he does, and his music is great. He's got a couple of different albums out. He's the Australian Afro-Peruvian king.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love his music and your music. I've been looking into that and studying that a little bit while life slowed down here.
Yeah, very cool. So what would you like to see? Like, if you had something that you really wanted to see from us, what would that be? Like, what would it look like? What can we make?
I think that this album is a nice first step. I think that that's a good symbol, a good uniting experience for the community that you have here.
And is there anything you'd like to see happen with that? We're trying to think of like different ways that we can provide. Like, there's a lot of ideas right here in this chat that I really appreciate that are just in my head now. But as far as like, we did a little tiny sort of version of that today with kind of like sharing insight to a tune or actually taking you behind the curtain of a tune, say. It's like, is that too wordy and too like whatever? Does it just mess with the music, or is that something that?
For me, I mean, I like you said, you called me out earlier. I'm a little bit of a nerd. I mean, I am a musician as well, so I enjoy it in both like just in a raw experience sort of way that Afro-Peruvian music does, but I also like behind the scenes and see like, oh, well, what did Gabriel do to this certain thing in this moment?
Mm-hmm. So what about the rest of you? Maybe on the chat, or if anybody else wants to, anybody else wants to come on. How do you feel about that? Is it just play the music, or can we add things that will make that experience more valuable for you, particularly now?
I do really like the live communication. I think that's definitely a big part of the music. And I get what that may be lacking in a distant situation, but I think that you can still communicate some cool ideas at least, and share what you want to.
Right. What I'm trying to define is sort of like the difference between the people that like the background information and all that, and then like Frank is saying, some people who just want the music. They don't want any of the additional stuff. Well, this is an interesting idea. Might someone be available during online live concerts to monitor chat and both respond to real-time questions and perhaps give us a heads up as to what may be coming up? Solos, offer English translations, etc. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, that could never be available. These are all like the ideas that are like really, to me, are like super valuable, are these ideas where we could never do it at a regular concert. We can do things this way.
What are you doing with the recorded videos right now? Are you uploading them anywhere after you record them?
Well, at the moment,
these like town hall meetings and stuff.
Well, we have a lot of content that we haven't released at the moment. Because we're trying to decide exactly how to do this. Because what we would like to do is have an ongoing kind of relationship, like we do now, through email, where I send you guys things and people comment, and so I want this album to be an opportunity to really dig deeper into that. By the thing that I mentioned at the beginning, having everyone's picture turned into a drawing and actually in the cover. We're working, on various aspects of that we can call on people to support and be a part of that way, So yeah, like like a membership site is what Rolf was saying here. And you can have like different things on there. That could be. But yeah. Okay, so Alan thinks that he doesn't find it too cool in regular concerts to introduce songs and do some talking, but in this format, it's a good opportunity to talk about the song, give the title, and a little bit about who played it. Right, and then the person monitoring a chat during a live streamed concert could be like somebody who's very knowledgeable about the music. Somebody like Christian, for example. He can monitor a live concert and tell you everything about, everything down to like, what Webito had for breakfast, probably. That's a great idea, Rolf. And then also in the meantime, because we may not be able to do live streaming concerts until we can all get together. But in the meantime, I'm thinking that could we do that same sort of thing with, pre-recorded video, where the band is performing, the band is doing a workshop, the band is doing whatever. And then one of us or several of us can actually be there to do that. I mean, is that worthwhile? Or is that just like, eh?
I think it could definitely be worthwhile. There's lots of opportunity for us to explore with what we can do with technology right now. So I think it's an opportunity. It might not be like as raw and as powerful as a live experience would be, but I think that there's the fact that you can share it with so many people right now is an advantage.
Right. So let's see if Martin, you're there, and you always have incredible insight. Martin Barron, I don't know if you're there, but if you are, it would be awesome to hear anything you might want to say. I know you always just think of incredible things in general. Yeah, thanks, Noah. That's awesome.
Yep. Thanks, Gabriel.
Yeah.
we are sitting like flies on the wall, not really helping very much. And the music I see are like a bunch of middle school teachers from 8 different places playing together. So they're around. And I have just loved everything you guys have said. And I think it is awesome. And I don't have anything else to say.
No, but would you get something out of like what Rolf is talking about, like having like a membership site where we regularly put new content and do these live sessions and sort of move on all these kinds of fronts, you know, in this kind of online format that we're in?
It is. It's very exciting to me and very strange and unusual. But yeah, I think it's valuable. It's creative and informative. Yeah, that's Tina talking from behind me.
Ah, yeah. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
What color's your hair?
Yes, yeah.
It's purple and blue.
Love it.
Same as before. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. If there's others of you are still hanging out and sticking with it, if anybody wants to say anything, please chime in. What we're trying to do is determine what kinds of things are valuable and maybe only available online, and trying to focus positively on not replacing a live concert experience, but creating something that you would like and you would enjoy. And we're going to be starting that with our album, you know, that we're going to put out. So this is a great time to just, these are amazing thoughts, and I'm glad we're getting all of this on the chat. Okay, so Frank is saying that with pre-recorded video inserts, include some outtakes and things like that with some of the humor and stuff. And yeah, I agree. And there's just a lot of education going on also within the band with each other. So I'm thinking that if we can share that with you, you know, Webito's a wealth of knowledge, and Leon Andrea's a wealth of knowledge, and I do my best to keep up with them. But there's definitely, I think, a lot to be shared as far as the culture of it. Oh, Frank, that is radical. You are radical. That is some radical chatting. What if people send you snippets of their music and you blend it and make the magic happen? That is cool. That is a good idea. But man, those snippets would have to be real snippety, like small, you know, because that's a huge challenge. But I like it. Are you talking, Frank? Are you talking like little riffs and things? Like somebody sends me like boom boom, and somebody else sends me blang blang blang, and then we make something of it. Cool. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. That might be for the next album, not this one. But yeah. And then yeah, English translations. Got it, Rolf. Yeah, English translation. So for the title track of the album, what we're thinking is there's going to be a poem that goes, you know, it'll be the same lyrics, one in English and one in Spanish, but we'll put the track on there twice. So it'll be once in English and once in Spanish. Yeah, Afro-Peruvian ukulele. Now we're talking. What did Tina say?
Tina would say, how would they relate to the music that you're making right now? I mean, it's exciting for us listening it and seeing how you're drawing on it and Mario's composition. Maybe, I guess what I'm really thinking is drawing in the next generation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a great point. And that's a really good point. You know, it's interesting that for us all this time, these 15 years, the audience in Peru is remarkably younger than the audience here in the States. We're not sure why that is, but it, you know, if you drew a cross section in Peru, it tends to be younger. There's a lot of younger people that come to the shows and stuff than here. But I think that's less of a reflection on the music. I think it's more of a reflection of just that here in the United States, because it's so large and everything is more compartmentalized, jazz already has been compartmentalized, you know, in a certain way that clubs and everything are set up for older people. You know, when you go up to Jazz at Lincoln Center, it's like it's white hair only. You know, and they do things for kids all the time. You know, they do things to bring kids in and stuff like that. But I think there's maybe some of that causes it. I don't think it has anything to do with the music. I think if we reach out correctly, it's more about how do we reach out to those people. Because what ends up happening is that you're able to reach out to someone like yourself a lot easier than someone who's not like yourself, right?
Yeah. I guess the way I was asking it is, how would those young people kick us in the ass is really what I was, without knowing the answer.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to jot that down as far as like some of the people that work with the band are younger, and some of the volunteers that volunteer with the band are younger. And maybe they can think of those paths, you know, that we can follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deep stuff. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys on the next one for sure.
Bye.
Bye. This is great.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
Hasta luego.
Ciao.